Hello, I'm Monica Price and welcome to Cuppa TV. On today's show, I'll be talking to Dan Woodward, a pro wrestler making his return back to the ring. Also joining me today is Phil Hatton, Strachan-Brain and Alan Cave, who've come to talk to me about the project Justice for the 21. Guest today is Dan Woodward, a pro wrestler who's just made a 4-year comeback into the sport of professional wrestling. He joins me today to talk about his journey. Dan, welcome to Cuppa TV.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Great to have you on the show, Dan. So, Dan, tell us, how did it all begin for you? Where did it all start?
Well, actually, a very young age. It was my brother, in fact, that actually got me into professional wrestling in the first stage. My earliest memory of watching it, I was about 5 or 6 years old. It was one of the old WWF pay-per-views back in the day, and there was always just one character which always stood out for me, which is Shawn Michaels. And yeah, ever since I was watching him, he had the charisma, he had the talent, he was just the main man in the ring back in the mid-90s.
Yes.
And yeah, he's just...
I remember when I was a child, wrestling used to be on every Sunday. You
Oh,
always
yeah.
used to
World
watch
of Sport, yeah.
every Sunday. Do you think wrestling's sort of making a comeback now, Dan? Do you think we're
Massively,
more interested
actually,
in
yeah.
it?
I mean, when I first started 10-something years ago, whenever it was, I feel that the UK indie scene was actually starting to build itself back up now. And obviously back then, TV wasn't as big as what it... it wasn't as open as what it is today, I should say, sorry. And what it is back in the world of sport days, obviously wrestling was absolutely huge. It was the main spectacle to watch back in the 70s, and I feel that it's definitely making a comeback today. It's like you'll go up and down the country, and any region you're in at the moment within the UK, there's always a guaranteed wrestling show happening within your area. You know, within a good 15-minute journey of you, no problem. There's always something going on.
Something
absolutely.
going on there. So tell us, how did you really from a very young age then, Dan, really, that you got your
16,
interest?
yeah, 15,
So then what happened? What did you do? Did you join a gym and start, working out? Or how did it all begin?
Yeah, I started... well, one of my friends from sixth form, he actually got in contact with me, and he told me about a wrestling training school, which was literally a half-an-hour walk from my house. Yeah. And I've always been a massive fan of it as a kid, and all through primary school, all through my breaks in primary school, I was always play wrestling in the schoolyard and whatnot. And I've always had a massive interest for it, so I just thought one day, why not? Let's just give it a go and see what happens. So I joined a wrestling school when I was 15. I was just turning 16 at the time, and it just all started from there.
Did you enjoy it when you went there?
Absolutely loved it.
Did you find that you? I was going to say, did you find that you kind of found your vocation really?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, and it still is now. It's still a hobby, absolutely. I actually tried to make something of it later on, which we'll talk about in a bit. But at that point, it was definitely a hobby, and it just sparked something for me to do on the weekends. And then, I started training every Sunday.
Is it quite hard training, Dan?
Oh, absolutely. I just remember my very first training session, because it's when you learn how to take bumps, and it's called bumps, how you fall correctly so you don't injure yourself. I remember doing them all day on a Sunday afternoon training, and then I had sixth form the following day. Monday morning, 8 o'clock, when I woke up, I was just lying in bed, stiff. I couldn't move. But no, it's
because I mean, it's
really
strange.
Strange.
It's a physical sport.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's a really strange sport. It's like there's no other sport in the world where you choose to throw yourself on the floor. It's really weird. But no, it really grasped me straight away. And within the first 3 months of myself training, I got put onto my first show. And I've never been so nervous in my life at all when I first did my first show. Like I was...
And how old were you, Dan, when that was happening?
I was 16. I just turned 16.
So very
I think
young. So you did very well
2006.
to have your first show, considering you only, just started training.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's just one of the things of it. Because I loved it so much, I just jumped straight onto it, and I just grasped what was needed. I mean, I was very basic at the time. I just did the very minimal. I mean, I remember when I first made my debut, my character was a very arrogant personality to himself, and loved himself. You know, hair always had to be slicked back. This was when I had long hair back in the day, and slicked my hair back and everything. I remember standing just before before the curtain, and my music started to play, and the butterflies in my stomach just exploded. And I walked out, keeping in mind that my character was all cool, slick, you know, absolutely loved myself and all that. I just came out just shouting, "Rah!" all that. I just lost it completely. But yeah, my very first opponent was a guy called Nicky Mace, and he had a lot of experience at the time, and he guided me through the match. And
there's quite a sense of camaraderie, I think, in wrestling. Would you agree with that? Everyone, I know there is this, you know, you have these battles and you all pretend to hate each other. But is there a sense of camaraderie within the sort of organisation?
Pro wrestling it's a show. It's something that you entertain the crowd with, and again, that's one thing which I love doing. I love entertaining people. And then to actually be working in a kind of industry where it's a very physical thing, but at the same time you're entertaining a crowd. You're working with your partner to get each other over. So the crowd boos the bad guy, the crowd cheers the good guy, and
so it's like a theatrical display, really.
Yeah,
isn't
it's a very violent soap opera sort of thing. Yeah.
But I mean, the reality is that, and you have to train. You know, there's a lot of hard work that goes into making sure you can get to the ring. So, what was your fitness regime like?
Well, beforehand, before when I started, it's practically the same as what I'm doing today. Really, you eat properly. You try and cut out the cakes, which is quite tough at times. Try not to drink too much beer and whatnot. But yeah, I'm at the gym at least 3 times a week, 4 times pushing it, and then I train once or twice a week now in an actual ring with a group in Tipton run by the Hunter brothers. Absolutely fantastic people.
So
really
I mean,
good.
because this is your comeback, Dan. So what happened? So you went to America, didn't you? Tell us.
That's right. Yeah, when I was.
What did you do there?
When I was 18, I had a frame of mind of I want to go to America. I want to make it big.
And did you want to be a pro wrestler? Is that,
Absolutely.
You know, you wanted to.
I wanted to go to the big leagues. I wanted to make lots of money out of it, make a living, and yeah, I mean, I went to America when I was 18. I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and that was an experience. When I turned up there, I found out the location of the wrestling school was in a ghetto, which was very strange.
Yes.
I was meant to have been there for 5 weeks. I lasted 2 weeks. I mean, because I remember my very first training session on a Wednesday. The British style compared to the American style of wrestling it's the same, but it's quite different, if you get what I mean. Like, I actually really injured my right ankle on my very first training session, which really got to my heart, because I spent so much money and effort going over there, and I got injured on my very first training session over there. Wasn't the other guy's fault. It was just a misunderstanding sort of thing. He brought me into a hip toss. I didn't understand how close he was actually going to get into me from when I bounced off the ropes, and there was a bit of miscalculation. I went over. I didn't expect to go over so soon, and then my right leg went under my bum, and I sat on my ankle, completely bruised it, and then, but to be honest, that was the thing that I needed. Knowing nowadays what you've got to be, you've got to be big. You've got to be at least 6'5" to actually make something out of yourself.
Are they quite tall, a lot of the wrestlers?
Huge.
I mean, they look huge
Absolutely.
when we see them on the television, but are they, obviously you know, that, I mean, you're tall as well, Dan, but that is an important thing, is it?
Oh, absolutely. It's like you've got to look big. You've got to look bigger than the average person, and that's what a lot of the promotions want. You know, because it wouldn't look good if the average Joe, which is practically me now, really, if I just walked in and then someone in the crowd is sitting down thinking, well, I'm actually bigger than him.
Yes.
I should be in there instead.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look
No,
right.
yeah.
So, you know, if you actually do want to make it to TV, you've got to be big, you've got to look empowering, you've got to have muscle, which I kind of lack as well, unfortunately.
But you're making a comeback, so that's good. You know, that all could be done at the gym. But what
absolutely, yeah.
But what about, so you're 18, you came back from America, and then what happened after that? Was that a disappointing experience for you,
Absolutely.
Dan?
I mean, I was still in college at that point. I was in my final couple of months of college, and I came back. I went straight up to my tutor, Dean, and I apologised profusely to him. I couldn't say sorry enough, but fair play to the guy. He just went down. Go and find yourself a computer. Go and sit down. You've chosen to actually go to university now. Let's do something like that instead. So I went and found a computer. Didn't know what I wanted to do at all. Then and then my tutor said to me, well, what was your favourite part in this course? I was doing a media production course at the time. And I went, well, making my final major project, if anything, it was making what would be a video games trailer. So he said to me, so video production then? And I went, well, actually, yeah, I think that's what I think that's what my passion is. And when I decided to do video production at university, that's when my passion for videography came about. And then I did a couple more years of wrestling every now and again, but because university was taking so much of my time,
did it kind of take a second place?
I couldn't really train as much as what I wanted to, and I kind of guess that my passion started to fall a tiny bit, kind of thing. And then I just said to myself one day, well, I think I just need to stop wrestling now, if anything, and I need to focus on my career. I mean, it's a fantastic hobby, but you need to balance it out.
And what about now, though,
really
Dan? Because obviously now you work for Big Centre TV.
Yeah,
you're here with us, and you know, and you've had a really good career in the film industry and worked with some very good directors.
Absolutely,
haven't you? Who have you worked with?
A guy called Dom Higgins and his twin brother Ian Higgins. I was very fortunate to be a cameraman on one of their feature-length films called All That Remains, which is out very, very soon. And I learnt so much off of those guys. It was fantastic. It was such a good experience.
So that you've got that passion as well. But what makes you now say, right? I mean, this is your comeback. You've just had a show. Tell us about that. How did that go?
Yeah, actually, as of time of recording, last Friday, I made my 4-year return to the ring. A couple of months ago, the promoter Rob, who was actually on What's On a couple of weeks ago on our Big Centre TV, we actually had an in-character interview, which went really well. I was really happy with it, and yeah, he just texted me one day saying, I'm running my own show very soon. Do you fancy wrestling on it? And I was just, I think I gave it a week or two, and I was like, do I want to? I don't know. But then I spoke to my family, my brother, if anything, and my best mates, and they were like, do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely do it.
And you've got a name, Dan. What's your name as a pro wrestler?
Yeah, my most recent character is called Bagwell.
Yeah.
I came up with the name, well, the character's a bully. It's something that I've always wanted to do, kind of thing, because I love playing the bad guy. Being the bad guy is it's so much more fun than being the fan favourite. I don't know what it is. I just love shouting at the crowd. It's great fun. And I came up with the character, this guy called Bagwell. First name Travis. Came up with the name of Travis from my favourite drummer, Travis Barker. And then Bagwell, who's my favourite character from my favourite TV series, Prison Break. Who was actually the main bad guy in that as well. So I just thought, okay, Travis Bagwell, let's put that together. Let's make a bully character, and let's see what happens from there.
So are you going to continue to wrestle now?
Absolutely. I mean, I did the show last Friday, which we got a bit of footage as well, and I had the time of my life. Absolutely. I worked with the promoter Rob, and I'm pretty sure that we basically tore the house down. It just went so well. That was one thing I was really nervous of actually forgetting a bit of the routine and whatnot. But working with Rob, he was top notch. We were constantly talking to each other, and
so you're going to go and do it again?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I know he's got a show coming up in
you've got
November
a show in
14th
of November in Malvern. So
right,
you're going to be taking part in that?
Absolutely. I think we're going to be. I think myself and Joey Scott, which is his character name. We're going to have another rematch, and another fun thing of it is his mum actually got involved in the last match. So I'm sure the story's going to continue between myself, his mum, and Joey himself as well. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. Well, I mean, it's such an interesting thing, and it's so good that you've taken your passion down and you're doing both things, which is great. So, wish you all the best, and thank you so much for joining me on Cuppa TV.
I appreciate you for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're just going to take a quick break, but come back and join me in just a minute. Back to Cuppa TV. We now welcome Phil Hatton, campaign member of Justice for the 21, and Strachan-Brain, singer-songwriter from the band Quill, who joined me today to tell us about the project and how they're raising money for the Acorns Hospice through music. Guys, thank you very much for joining me.
That's
so we've got Phil and Joy, thank you so much.
Hi, Monica.
So this is an amazing campaign, Phil. Tell us about it, Justice for the 21. Where did it all start?
Well, it all started a couple of years ago. Just by chance, I was going through listening to the radio, and it just happened to get onto the much missed Colchin radio show. And on that programme, Brian Hamilton was speaking about the Birmingham pub bombings of 1974, in which his sister was killed. In fact, he dropped her off that evening into the Birmingham city centre after his sister, Maxine, who was killed in the tavern in the town, had ironed his shirt.
Terrible time.
It was, and he's, you know, and he gave her a lift, and if she wouldn't have done that, she might not have been at that time. And he was distraught on the programme, talking about it. And they had to cut because he was that distraught to go into a piece of music. And it was only after I was listening to him and to find out that nothing had been done to find the killers of his sister, that I got in touch with his sister, Julie, and offered my assistance as being a musician. And not only that, as the tavern in the town used to be my old pub, my local pub in the city centre, as it was for a lot of musicians. We're talking about 69 there.
Yes, it was very, very frequented, wasn't it, with musicians there?
And I phoned up Julie and offered my support to any way that, you know, groups and singers that I know would like to put on a concert at the town hall if we got support from the leader of Birmingham City Council to help us with this, with Sir Albert Bohr, and he kindly did. And we put on a concert to remember those 21 innocent people who were drinking in the tavern in the town, and also the Mulberry Bush. 21 people were killed. It was the biggest mass murder of the 20th century in peacetime mainland Britain. Not many people know that. And I tried to get people involved, musicians, and we were doing in Erdington a year and a half ago. We were at the Erdington Carnival. Joy was playing there with the band Quill.
Absolutely, yes.
And as soon as I asked Joy, she says, "We'd like to help because you know, it's something that needs to be addressed for Brian and his family, who." Since the pub bombings, and since we are not a political campaign, and it's not a religious campaign, we're just for Birmingham citizens.
Yeah, just for the citizens.
Nothing has been done to find the perpetrators of this, and we believe by making music and let people know. There's a lot of kids who were never born when this terrible tragedy happened.
People, I mean, let's bring you in, Joy. Lots of people, don't know about the bombing.
Absolutely,
in Birmingham. I mean, for a certain generation, we remember it. But
we do.
At the time, it was a very, very horrific experience, not only for the people, obviously, that lost their lives there, but for the Birmingham city as a whole. And presumably that one of the reasons why you wanted to become involved, Joy, was it?
Well, I remember the night so clearly. The TV went on and came up under the news flash that there'd been bombs going off in Birmingham at some pubs in Birmingham, and it's a sort of pub like Phil. I could have been at myself and perhaps had friends that were there. So it was just the most horrendous evening, and to think that nobody really speaks about it, and as you say, children today or youngsters today don't even know about it.
So I mean, from your band, tell us about your band.
Yes, I'm in a Birmingham band called Quill, have been for a lot of years. It's a jobbing band, playing the theatres and writing songs, and it was a great pleasure to be able to say we'd be part of this.
And I mean, you've had some amazing artists, come forward and work with you. I mean,
Yes.
Roy Wood has designed the cover.
He's designed the cover and contributed a song as well.
Which is
beautiful song.
And have you found that, Phil? Have you found that people have really wanted to engage with you? Now you set this project up.
Yes.
Is that how you
It's been fantastic from the musicians in Birmingham. It's just a shame that the rest of Birmingham, the citizens of Birmingham, haven't come forward and helped Julie and Brian. We've had petitions where we wanted to get questions asked in the House of Parliament to try and get 100,000 signatures for it. We didn't get. We got 10,000.
Yes, it's. I mean, but historically, Birmingham, well, the West Midlands has an amazing array of musicians, doesn't it? And I don't think people realise that.
No.
And it is a very musical area. Lots of great musicians have come from the West Midlands, which I'm assuming that's how you got the support. Because people were willing to help you
exactly.
and
and
actually
a lot of the
contribute.
musicians. We've got young and old musicians who
and we've got a video we're going to watch later on in the programme.
It's fantastic. It's been lovely. And as I say, Robin George, famous rock guitarist from the Black Country, he's contributed a song. He used to drink in the tavern in the town. And Phil Pickett, who was in a group called Sailor, Girls, 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 and also went on to write Karma Chameleon for Boy George. He's contributed a song with backing vocals from one of the Beach Boys, amazingly enough.
Wow.
Now Phil Pickett on that night, he was driving his motorbike past New Street Station, just past the rotunda, and he had his girlfriend on the back, and they were just passing there when the bombs went off, and they were thrown off their bike. In those days, he was going down to London, where he was living at the time with his girlfriend. They were both thrown off the bike with the force of the explosion, and they both got onto the train to go down there, and his wife was injured. She'd perforated an eardrum. He's contributed a song because he hasn't forgotten.
Again, it's the forgetting, and for you, Joy, as well. It's important, presumably, not only as a singer-songwriter, but the band Quill got involved with this. And tell us about the song that we're going to hear, because we're actually going to see your video first. So tell us about that.
Well, I sadly lost my husband 3.5 years ago, and he was the bass player in the band, and we recorded a lot of his songs, put them on a new album called Brush with the Moon. But I wrote a song about my feelings, about my loss of losing my husband, and it's a song called Life is Life. So it's very poignant about, obviously we've lost all these people, but it's also for people, anyone that loses a loved one, and that's what the song's about.
So it's a perfect choice, really, for this particular CD.
Yeah.
And again, it's a work in progress, but we're going to be talking about it later on after the break. But but it's something you're going to be releasing later in November, isn't it? That's what
November,
you're
round
hoping to
about
do.
the 41st anniversary of the bombings. Yes, and all the proceeds, everything will be going towards to the Acorns Children's Hospice.
Here in Birmingham.
Here in Birmingham, yes.
And again, was it important to you that you kept that sort of, the money that you raised actually in the city of Birmingham? Was that important to you both?
Yes.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. We raised quite a few thousand £1,000 from the town hall concert, and those went to the same. charities. And yes, not only are you those 21 souls who were taken away from us still remembered, but the goodness is coming out of evil of that night by,
through music, as you say, you're raising the awareness, something through music. And again, I mean, and with Quill, music and that's right, with Quill, Joy, the band is still, as you say, going around Birmingham. I mean, you gig, and do you remember that time? Is it something? Have you ever penned a song about it?
Not about the particular night, no. But there is a song been written especially for the concert. 21 today,
which is going to be on the CD.
Yes.
So again, it's you've got a real collaboration, haven't you, with lots of artists. And was that exciting for you?
Absolutely, nice to be part of it. You know, and obviously I know all the musicians, or most of the musicians that have donated tracks for the album. And on the night, of course, at the town hall, it was wonderful. The atmosphere at the backstage, everyone was just so for it to make it a success, and it was very emotional as well, speaking to the family. I mean, Julie and her family are lovely people, and her mother was there, and she was overwhelmed with the kindness of everyone donating their time and efforts to make it such a special evening, and that was very special to me, to meet those people, because they've not had no closure. You know, they've lost a loved one, and there's just no closure.
Well, we're going to watch your video now, so stay with us, but thank you so much for joining us. So just to take us out of the break then, we're going to watch the video Life is Life by Quill.
Life is life, and I'm still here with all the things that we held dear, but you're missing. Your jacket's still there on the hook, your picture's still there in the frame, your voice from the songs on the play. Oh, everything still seems the same. Life is life, and I'm still here. Life is life. I could swear that sometimes you are near, but you're missing.
Welcome back to Cuppa TV. Joining us now is Alan Cave, producer of the 21 Today CD. Alan, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
So, it's just been an interesting journey and story, really, Phil, hasn't it? And we've been, we've just spoken to Joy, of course, but we're just going to watch a video now. So before we have a longer chat with you, Alan, so tell us just a little bit about the video we're just about to see, Phil.
Well, the video was made by a very talented Birmingham lad, Paul Griffin. And I think if when you watch it, you might get the feeling of the love that was sent out, as you'll find out from the town hall on that evening. It was absolutely wonderful.
Excellent. Well, let's take a look. So let's take a look at this video now.
We're at the town hall and we are celebrating the lives of our loved ones when they were alive 40 years ago, because this time 40 years ago 21 victims were still with us, living and breathing and part of our lives.
Tonight is about celebrating their lives and about thanking and honouring all those brave men and women, doctors, nurses, ambulance people, fire service personnel, police officers, taxi drivers who ferried the wounded, to thank all of them for their humanity and bravery that evening, that dreadful evening.
Test. Okay. We were in the Alexander Theatre watching Spike Milligan do a one-man show. And when the first explosion went off, the whole theatre reverberated, and then when we got out into the foyer, it was complete chaos. So, you know, it's got strong memories of the night itself.
That night I was actually in Birmingham, and I was just down the road from where the bombings happened. And we were just about to start playing, and the police came in and told us to leave everything and go home and come back tomorrow with the gear or whatever. So it's very close to my heart.
I remember it well because I was touring with ELO at the time, and I was in America, and it was on the American news that there'd been a really serious explosion in Birmingham, my hometown in England. And back then, it was very hard to communicate. You didn't have mobile phones and things, so it took ages to get a hotel line to phone home and make sure everybody was okay. It was just an unforgettable night.
My involvement with Justice for the 21 started 2 years ago when I was listening to the Colchin show, and he had on that programme Brian Hambleton, whose sister had been killed in the Tavern in the Town bombings, and he was asking people to help him. Those 21 poor souls who were just having a quiet drink, they will get justice, and that's what I'm trying to help to do.
I am playing here tonight with David Scott Morgan and Martin Smith band, and I also just did a solo performance as my own artistic contribution to the event of tonight. The people of today are trying to bring justice so that at least they feel that their loved ones are resting in peace.
Tonight I'm here because I've co-written this song 21 Today, which is what this memorial's about. I think it's particularly interesting that some young folk are on tonight, and one of them has written a tune for this tragedy. Well, he wasn't born when this actually happened, so it's really great, you know, that young folk connect with the history of our land and our city indeed.
We got involved before the summer, and it gave us a chance to sort of dwell on the event and kind of really get to grips with what it meant. And then we wrote this song in reaction to it as well. Yeah, it's called Mulberry Bush, which is one of the pubs that was attacked.
Been asked to come down and lend a hand and done gigs. Well, yeah. Had the banner on the back of the stage. Done quite a bit, man. It's been a pleasure to be involved. But the amount of people out there, I'd like more people to be aware, more of the younger people that it didn't directly affect at the time.
Everything to do with this concert has been done for free, and we are indebted to those that have helped us to bring together a happy occasion on such a sad event.
I think it's fantastic the work that Justice for 21 does, because I think a lot of people in the public don't know enough about the event, and they should.
We think they are a group of people who really need our support, and we like to try to raise their profile. All the money tonight that is raised is going to be split between Birmingham Children's Hospital and the Acorns Trust, and there's a direct link to the Children's Hospital because 40 years ago it was Birmingham General Hospital, and Birmingham General Hospital had a lot of the casualties from the bombings.
Oh, I'm walking down that road again. 20-some.
I would hope that this evening's celebration will highlight to those in authority that it is time to find out what happened that terrible evening 40 years ago and why the people of Birmingham and the people of the West Midlands are still waiting for justice.
We hope it will get people all over the UK, Ireland, hopefully maybe all over the world to realise the greatest injustice that still exists in England's history of the 20th century.
It was a special night tonight, a very special night, to feel that love from the people of Birmingham, and the warmth that was generated here at the Birmingham Town Hall tonight went all the way down New Street to the Tavern in the Town and to the Mulberry Bush, I'm sure, tonight, remembering those 21 innocent people. It was a fantastic evening, fantastic.
Justice for the 21.
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 21 tomorrow.
Well, I mean, it's very emotional, isn't it? And very, you know, it's so wonderful to see so many people involved with that video. I mean, how did you become involved with the project,
Well,
Alan?
I was working with Quill on an album, Brush with the Moon, at the time, and Joy couldn't make one of the meetings at the Birmingham Mail, so she asked me if I would go. So I went along to discuss the technical aspects of the Town Hall show in terms of sound, in terms of how we did
How
the
you actually
stage
deliver it, yes,
So,
yes.
and that's how I met. I've known Phil before, but that's how I got involved with
yes,
this.
yeah.
And because the Town Hall, the money raised was going to the Birmingham's Children's Hospice, which I'd previously been involved with a few years before with UB40.
Yes, because you used to work with UB40,
that's right,
didn't
and
you?
Jeff Lynne and Phil, etc. So immediately I was drawn into it
Yeah,
anyway.
so you wanted to do
so
it
I went
anyway.
as a technical representative
Yes.
and then finished up getting part of it.
You didn't let him go then, Phil?
Well, he's a top man, you know.
So, yeah.
He's done
Well, I mean,
Red Wine,
I was going to say,
UB40.
tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about what you've done before in the past.
In the past, well, I started off as a musician, as we all did, playing guitar. And many years ago, you had a thing called a recording test. We went down, replacing a Birmingham band, I was in a band, to do a recording test at EMI Abbey Road. We weren't left in a control room, we had to play in a loudspeaker with a producer was on it. But I went into a studio, and that was my turning point.
That was your passion.
I thought, I love playing the guitar, but what's this behind here and what's these?
All the buttons and all
so
the
I
gadgets.
I got into recording, basically. Then I started to build a studio in my own garage and write songs, because the Beatles did. We all did that. And then, by accident, a local band called Magnum needed to use a little desk I'd got, so I lent it to him, but they couldn't work it. So I went to work it and become a live sound engineer, quite by accident.
Quite by accident.
From then on, I went out on tour with Boomtown Rats, UFO, many big bands, and finished up working with UB40, who was supporting Magnum at
the time.
Cannon Hill Park at the time. Then we toured all over the world with UB40, and we spoke in a bar in Finland about a studio they wanted. So I got on board and designed and built their studio. And that's how it went. And along came Action, which was the Children's Hospice album, and Jeff Lynne.
Yeah.
After
And then
that,
really it
I
was a
went
natural
respectable. I
progression.
became a teacher in it. I got a teaching qualification, and I worked at Sandwell College for 15 years, lecturing in professional sound engineering, and retired, and I haven't stopped since.
It's amazing
Good
that when
job.
you retire, things start to happen, don't they?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Phil, so you got him involved, obviously,
Yes.
in the production
and
of the
Joy,
CD.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. And Alan's got his own studio in Tamworth now. It's a great place. And as I say, we're doing all the mixing and everything of the album. And there's a connection there again with on the CD, because Paco...
it was Bitty McLean.
Bitty McLean.
Yeah.
Has contributed a song who Alan worked with at UB40 studio.
There really is a
Bitty McLean,
connection.
yeah. Sorry, Bitty. I meant
Yes.
Bitty was an ex-student of mine at Sandwell College
Really?
in the YTS days, and straight away the second I heard him sing, I thought, well, yeah, what a voice. Next thing, he's at #2 in the charts. So, and he's donated a track as well.
That's
yeah,
wonderful.
we've got some great
So
Birmingham
tell us,
musicians.
let's talk about who we've actually got on this CD then. So it's going to be released, if we said, late November.
Yes.
So
late November.
who have you got?
Well, we've
Just
got
give us a little snippet.
Roy Wood.
Yes.
Roy Wood's donated a song. Jeff Turton, well, he's a #1. Roy's had a #1 in this country, and we've got another person who's had a #1. It's Jeff Turton with the Rockin' Berries. Beautiful song. He's all of the songs on there, I shouldn't say, all of the songs on there are heartfelt songs for the campaign, and that's the great thing about it. Jeff Turton We've got Mike Kelly, who played in drums in Spooky Tooth and the Holy Ones. He's donated a song. King Pleasure and the Biscuit Boys, they've donated a song. Robin George, who I mentioned before, he's donated a song.
And you've got young artists as well.
And we've got some great young artists. We've got Steady Hands, who are a group who were formed at the Birmingham Conservatoire.
We've just seen those in the video, haven't we?
Yes, well, you saw them on there.
Yeah.
Well, you know, a lovely song that they've written called Mulberry Bush, which is about the mulberry bush. They wrote that song for the concert, which is, you know, really Chris Ty, another singer-songwriter, great new talent coming up. Yes, we
to really have this broad spectrum, bringing people together through music, then really.
Yeah, through
and then
music.
Alan, your role was to, you know, get all that together,
to assemble it and make it into a product.
And interesting, you know, people have donated all their time and money and everything to this project. Done it all for free.
Everything
haven't
for
they?
free. At the concert, everything was for free, and for this, everything was for free.
That's incredibly generous of people to give up their time.
Well, it is very generous of them, and also we've had great support from the Birmingham Mail, and we've been asking businesses in Birmingham, in the Birmingham Mail, in the column that we have there, to donate £100 each business who'd like to help the Justice for the 21 campaign. To get it, they will get a credit on the album when it comes out. We want 21 businesses or companies to support these 21 innocent people by donating £100 each to help with the production costs. And if anybody's watching at home and knows somebody who might want to help us, they can get in touch with us by sending an email to Justice for the 21. That's Justice, the number 4, the 21, at hotmail.co.uk. That's Justice for the 21 at hotmail.co.uk. And we need as much help, not just from the musicians, we need for the citizens of Birmingham to come forward and say, hey, we haven't forgot those 21 innocent people who were having a quiet drink in the city centre, and they've been completely forgotten about by the police, by the government. As I said, we're not a political campaign. We've got nothing to do with religion. We're just here for justice for those 21 innocent Birmingham people who've been completely forgotten about.
And Alan, presumably, again, that's why your involvement, you were
Yes,
quite happy to be involved.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the production costs of the hard copies actually making the
Yes,
CD.
because now let's talk about that, because you're going to make 1,000
Start off with
limited...
1,000.
There'll be
1,000 limited
editions,
and they'll be available for people to buy.
Yeah.
And you're also going to be, obviously, on the other... social
yes,
media, iTunes, etc., that they can download.
Yes.
And then from there, hopefully, of course, you're wanting people to buy, and then you're going to produce some more, Alan. Is that what you're going to do?
Well, yes, exactly. Yeah. Every year we'll keep doing the same to make sure that those 21 innocent people are not forgotten. And if music heals, that's what we're going to try and do. The most important thing is they're not forgotten. That is it. Yeah. Because people are still hurting. Janet, Julie and Brian, they're walking the streets when we're signing petitions, asking people to sign a petition, and people are just turning their backs and walking away. They shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be doing that.
So really you're raising awareness,
yes,
aren't you, for what you're doing? And was it important that you stay involved, Alan? You're going to be staying involved with the project?
It's ongoing. I mean, that's why we'll just keep doing it. But
live streaming?
Yeah, live. We're looking at streaming next, you know, that sort of thing. But Quill, when we do shows, we only really do theatres now. We offer a table to the Justice for 21 to get recruits, to get signatures as well. So I mean, it's turned into a big mission, really. And
the people of Birmingham are supporting you. I think once they find out about you,
well, hopefully, with your programme now, you're becoming very popular now, Monica,
exactly.
and hopefully
what can I say?
Yeah, well,
it's wonderful to have you on to give you a voice to let people know about.
Well, thank you. You're so kind, because otherwise, they wouldn't. But we're on the road to righteousness, really, for these 21 innocent people that have been completely forgotten, and we want people to spread the word. Because, as I say, 41 years ago, people were going out earlier on in the evenings not knowing the terror and the horror. The whole of Birmingham are affected. The people who are watching this now, but if they was to ask somebody in the family if they knew about this, and the people on that night knew where they were and what they were doing, and the terror, you know, people didn't know if people were, because there were no phone boxes and mobile phones in those days.
Well, we forget we're just such a mobile
well, we are,
world
so
now, but there wasn't anything like that in those days. So I imagine the horror of trying to get in contact with your loved ones.
Yes, and it was packed that night in Birmingham city centre. And if you was to see the aftermath of it, and iconic Rotunda, the damage that it had done to it, and the whole New Street, you know, with all this glass and bodies and everything. But the great thing was, last year, 40 years later, if you, like I say, went from seeing from that concert, the joy and the positive
that music
and the love can bring to help, you know, help people.
And again, it's another example really of how music can bring so much joy through such a most horrendous time.
Yes.
And I mean, for you, Alan, you'll probably stay involved, as will Joy, as will all the other people that couldn't obviously come and join you today. But what for the future? What would you say for the future, Phil? What would you like to see in the future with this album? Would you do more concerts, or what do you both? I'll ask you first. I'll ask the same question to you, Alan.
Well, things have changed a little bit. Concerts, the smaller concerts, the smaller venues have all disappeared now. So we look at bigger town halls.
Yes.
But technology is with us now, and that's where we've got to look at live streaming,
like we were saying about live streaming, yes,
and downloads, etc., etc. So that's where we're. All the Quill are mature people, right? But we do realise how important it is to move forward and use the technology. The whole cause is great, you know. It's fabulous. So I'm going to be involved, whatever happens, you know. But it's a good album. Can you sing? You want to do a song?
I would like to say. I'll have to do an introduction.
Well, there's still a couple of slots out for the CD, so...
oh, well, I might be able to find someone to help you, for sure. Yeah. No, but I mean, it's just, I think that what you've done is to say you've raised awareness by doing it, and it gives people an opportunity to learn exactly what happened on that dreadful night, and also to give back to the people that, you know, that were lost in that time, and by through music, you've given them an opportunity to know about it. So you know, so thank you so much for coming on the show today, and I wish you all the best. And if you do any more gigs or whatever, then come back and let us know.
Oh yes, we'd love to come back here again one day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So that's it for today's show. I'd like to thank my guests, Dan, Phil, Joy and Alan, for joining me. If you'd like to get in touch with us here, you can join us on Facebook or Twitter at Big Centre TV. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and come back and see me very soon. Bye bye.